Morning, many of you are getting ready for the school year, for the first bell to ring. Preparing kids for classes and maybe school bullies.
Hello? Hello? Anybody home?
But bullying doesn't stop in the classroom. In fact, a third of adults say they are victims of adult bullying. In fact, one Arizona sheriff released this PSA to get your attention.
Too bad the gun wasn't real.
And he didn't kill the lot of you. May all your ways be with us.
The sheriff had kids read actual social media posts out loud.
We want to address the bullying, but we also want to address it at its core, which is, what are you teaching your kids? Are you yourself as a parent bullying people online? Are you making rude and hateful comments online?
So what is adult bullying really, and what should we do to make sure we are setting the best example for our kids? And here with us now to answer those questions and more is psychotherapist Janie Lacey. Janie, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Kids bully kids, we know that, but is adult bullying a real thing?
You know, adult bullying has been going on for a very long time. We see it on social media, we see it in the workplace, we see it in sporting events. And what happens is with adult bullies, we can recognize them when they're being aggressive, but the more common adult bullies are actually passive-aggressive.
All right, so what do you need to look for in a situation like this, and how do you curtail it? Because a lot of adults sort of face a situation like this, and they're like, well, what do I do? Especially in the workplace, it's awkward.
It is awkward, and sometimes it just comes out of nowhere because there's verbal bullying. That's the common one that we'll see, mostly in the workplace or on sporting events. That's where someone's being aggressive, they're being demeaning, they're being belittling, they're trying to intimidate you. And there's usually some type of power difference. But then the other one that we'll normally see is the passive-aggressive. The passive-aggressive is where you feel like there's something, but you can't put your finger on it. And it happens over time. And it can happen where they may not necessarily be confronting you, but yet they'll use social media, for example, to deliver some type of message. And you may think they're talking about you, but it's not necessarily black and white. So we'll see that very commonly in the workplace. We'll see that with other situations as well.
This is the thing I find interesting, because as children, kids are kids. They don't necessarily know nor have the life experience that adults do to be able to deal with bullies. But as adults, you would think that an adult would take the bully aside, or that an adult would talk to the bully themselves. And I just wonder, why do you think it is that even as adults, we sometimes tend to let the bully win?
You know, there's many reasons. Sometimes there's sometimes a power difference, right? Because if it's a boss that's bullying an employee, they may feel like they don't necessarily have a lot of different options in that situation. But then there's on the same level, as far as colleagues, they're going to think about, well, let me take the high road. There's many different reasons why people do not confront a bully. But one of the ways that you have to deal with a bully, especially as an adult, is you have to confront them. You want to not be reactive, for one. So because sometimes the shock of it, you want to be reactive and you want to defend yourself, but you don't want to do that. You want to be able to have effective and assertive communication, because one of the ways that you deal with a bully head-on is you are direct with them, you deal with them effectively, you communicate with them, but you do not give them what they give you. You don't want to hit aggression with aggression. It's just going to cause things to be worse. But if it's a workplace, you want to formalize the communication. At some point, you want to start documenting and you want to formalize some of the things that are going on.
If we sense that we might be bullies ourselves, how do you recommend we stop it?
Well, get counseling.
I like that answer. And Jenny, I was going to ask you about the workplace, because a lot of times the person who's bullying you is your boss. You talk about awkward. How do you handle that?
You know, I think the first thing is you want to recognize, okay, what's going on here, and you want to be able to have open and honest conversations with your boss. You don't want to go to them and say, well, are you bullying me? No, but you want to be able to say, is there something that I'm doing that I can do better, right? Because you want to be able to open the lines of communication, but you want to do it in a way that's effective, that's respectful, but also let them know that I'm in tune to you, but you're doing it in a way that's professional. So I'm a big believer that if you feel like something is going on, that you don't ignore it, because if you ignore it, it will continue to happen, and it can get worse. So have that meeting with the boss, but you do it in a way that's humble. You let them know that if there's something that I can do better, is there something that you feel like you could want to give me feedback, just be able to have that line of communication, because if not, then it could potentially get worse.
And it seems to me like, as we wrap this up, the bottom line is that you're telling us to make sure, Janie, that we actually talk to the person who is bullying us, and don't internalize it and let it fester.
Very simple, but very hard to do. But
Yes.
exactly that is that we want to be able to, because sometimes we're intimidated. That's why we don't want to go and have that direct communication, or we may feel like, well, maybe it's me. But if you have any feelings that something is going on, you want to be able to go and be respectful. You want to be honoring. You want to be graceful, and you want to be able to keep the topic on hand. If it's at the workplace, you want to keep it on work and the work environment. If there's something that I can do differently, is there any feedback you want to give me? That type of communication versus talking about stuff that's not based in facts.
Really good information
Really
for
good.
everybody. We can talk about this all day. Jamie Lacey, always great to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Jenny, thanks. The time right now